We make it happen.
Yeah, for certain.
For certain. Today's webinar is, we have a few things we just have as like reminders. I know not all of you have joined week over week, so we've got a few sponsor reminders that we'll go over today. Let me get my screen share going here. Obviously, we're recording this for anybody on your team who may not be able to join. And we are going to do a lot of Q&A today. So either drop into the chat or the actual Q&A, either one works for us.
Yeah,
we
I might actually just, sorry, Amelia, I might just double up there and just say the big goal of today, probably go over a lot of stuff many of you already, a lot of you already seen or know. But we really are looking forward to answering a lot of the unanswered questions that you might have. Believe it or not, our sponsor inbox has been exploding, which tells us that there are lots of questions to be had. We're here to answer them. We thought maybe this would be the best use of time today. So anyway.
Yes, we're here to help. There's no bad question. Ask any and all questions. That's what we're here for, to do our open forum today. So let's just go and get started today with some open reminders. So let me kick us off. So obviously you guys are all here. Thank you for joining our weekly webinar series. The link is here as always. If you have other team members that need to join, we do live stream these to our YouTube page. I believe you guys have the link in those weekly emails that go out to the entire playlist. So as soon as the top of the hour is over, we add this to the playlist. You guys can watch it in real time, or if for some reason you miss one, that playlist is the place to go where they get uploaded week over week without waiting for us to send it out to you. So you can get that information in real time. We have been sending the weekly emails the morning of. So you guys should have gotten one today. If you've not gotten it, just let us know in the chat and we'll make sure you're on it. I do believe a lot of you are on it. So it's always good though, if you're not getting it, just let us know, like a backup email to send to. Sometimes that works. One thing to do as well is to add sponsor success at SaaStr Inc. to your favorites or your contacts. I know that does help, so it doesn't go into promotions or something. So that can help too if you think you're not getting the emails or new team members that are supporting. That needs to be included in your run up to SaaStr Annual. So that's us. We didn't even introduce ourselves this week. I feel like we know all of you now. So.
Well, I'm Brian.
Yeah, that's I'm Amelia. My internet's a little spotty.
I'm Brian Alcesser. I'm the Vice President of Sales at SaaStr. That's Amelia Barra. She's the head of this darn show. I mean, she won't say it, but she's the SVP and GM at SaaStr. But we're here again, we're here to support you all. Between the two of us, the show goes on. So we're here to answer any questions that come up, by all means. All right, sorry. Continue, Amelia. I cut you off.
No, it was a good call out. Let me actually see if I can become a talking head.
Are you freezing on your end, Amelia?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, so continue on. Okay. We can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. You might have just seen me in like some weird phasing in and out. So I think you guys know this, so I'll skip over that. We just like to include some week over week reminders. Our annual demographics, if you guys didn't see this in last week's webinar, we are dropping these here. This is something that we are updating continuously. So this is one of our current up-to-date annual demographics of who's coming. Obviously, this will get refreshed as we get closer and more folks attend SaaStr Annual. So just a recap of the know before you go. Again, this is just if you've missed any of our past webinars, we've got all the links here to help you get up to speed as a sponsor, all the health and safety guidelines, the venue, links to recommended hotels, links to the latest floor plans, high-res logos. I know we are still missing this from quite a few of you, so if you've not sent to our team yet, we do need a high-res full color version as well as a white logo. So if you haven't sent that, please do share it with Sponsor Success. This is something that we are using and starting to use for, believe it or not, we are getting our print collateral ready for on-site. So do be sure we have those. And then, yeah, contact information, I think a good call out we haven't really brought up in the last few weeks. If we don't have a phone number for you, please give us one for either yourself or somebody who should be the main point of contact on your team. This is, again, in case we need to get in touch voice. So, we've had some sponsors where we need to chat with them for like maybe a minute or two on like their booth selection or their booth placement. This really does help us. We can text you if you prefer to text. So as Brian's a heavy texter, as I know, so make sure he or I or someone here has your phone number. Super helpful. And then obviously then you'll have our number and you can always text us back. In terms of sponsor timelines, so we're chugging right along here. Our booth selection is underway. I'll chat a bit about this today because I know many of you were asking which group I should say of booth selection you're in. So I actually have that listed out so that if you haven't been in a wave, you'll know the timeline for you upcoming. It's basically all within the next month. Our sponsor exhibitor resource center. So I know Bruni, this is something you were asking about for like an exhibitor manual kit. This is the same thing as the resource center that has the exhibitor services kit. This is still on track. I just talked with our production team to be coming July 12th. So that is next week. We'll actually go over that with you guys in the weekly webinar as well, so that we can do like a deep dive of like what the link is, what it contains, how to order things in there, how to submit your graphics, see the sponsor expo hours. So that will be one of our main focuses for next week's webinar. As a reminder, all booth graphic submissions are due as first drafts from sponsors on Friday, August 6th. You can submit them as soon as you're ready. Our next slide has those links called out should you need them. As soon as you do turn them in, we will proof them. Our team proofs them, the production team looks at them. We just make sure that everything fits the way it's supposed to. You'll do a final QC and approval. You'll want to make sure again that approval happens before August 27th, which is also a Friday, so that you do not incur any passed along rush fees. Again, this is just a good practice to make sure they have it by that deadline so that your booth that you submit does match what they produce on site for you. As always, Sunday, September 26th, there's optional sponsor load-in that will begin. You can get your team through health and safety, pick up your badges. You can, register, sign up your team, get your booth all ready to go for the next 3 days of annual, which are the 27th through the 29th. Again, as we've said on many calls, not all of our sponsors stay the entirety of 3 days. Most people do sort of slowly let their teams go. And by the end of Wednesday, just have like a core team. So something you can do or think about. And then if you need it, if you have a bigger booth and you have like some custom things you're bringing in, we can do additional sponsor loadout. If you need, again, just let us know. The sooner the better, because there will be different loadout happening those days on the 29th. Let's just say the 30th, actually. Look at our schedule. I think you guys have seen this sort of sponsor schedule at a glance. There is an agenda at a glance coming out for all attendees and sponsors next week. We'll again share that with you guys on next week's webinar as we have it, so that you can see more of, it's basically going to entail like what is happening between 7 to 12:30 in terms of content, and then what's happening on site from like 1 to 6. So it'll have more details there, basically about the deep dive of there's content happening. There's content, there's speakers, there's networking. So all that stuff, again, you have it here at a glance, but you'll have more of a deep dive next week. Booth specs, if you don't have them, here are the links to them by level. So again, any of these you click into, oops, sorry about that. Any of these you click into will have the detailed specs, as well as how to name your files, where to upload them, all that jazz. So all that's there for you. If you have any questions on this, again, let us know either here or via email.
Just on that note, if you go back, Amelia, anybody that did not get these links, there are some that I got some notes from individuals saying they didn't get them. If anyone didn't get them, please just call it out if you can, and we'll make sure that you get them. Bruni, I see you now, no problem. We'll make sure that these go out to you, okay? Sorry, thanks, Amelia.
No, good call out. Our Canvas master you guys have seen, so nothing has really changed here. Again, some of it's inside, some of it's outside. Just to that, Brittany, I see your comment on being on. You actually are on the distro list. I don't know if it's something where like our alias hasn't been added or it's getting blocked because we're an external email. So I actually don't know if you have a separate email we can also add, just to make sure it's going through, because I did check this last night with all of our sponsors. And I did see you on there, so I'm not sure if it's for some reason failing in deliverability. So, okay, thank you for your Gmail. We'll add your Gmail. Helpful. Cool. The sponsor booth selection is underway. So actually, let me move forward. So we're currently on group 3. We actually just placed everybody in group 3 because, as you notice, we closed group selection for group 3 yesterday at noon. We got everyone placed. We will be sending out that today. So if you are in group 3 today, in about an hour or two, you'll actually receive an email from us that confirms your booth selection. So one thing we do is whenever it's your group, we will let you know. We will send you a calendar invite. So if you're in group 4, you're getting calendar invites today for group 4, which starts tomorrow. You also have like multiple 4 business days plus the weekend to pick the booth. So it's quite many of you actually do it immediately. So again, this is just to make sure we give everybody ample time if they need to, ask different team members to pick. So basically what happens when your group opens based on this timeline, and then the next slide will show the different names of sponsors. They're just alphabetical. They're not in any particular order. So we alpha ordered them. So there's nothing confidential. You will give us your top 5 choices based on this sponsor floor plan. So this has a numbering system. We send you a PDF so you don't have to squint. It's got the legend on here of which ones are opened. You'll obviously see there'll be more sponsors on this after this latest round of placements. And then anything that's open, you give us your top 5. We'll slot you based on contract signature date, and obviously making sure that, so some people do pick the same ones. Whoever signed first is the one who gets that booth. I will say most people have gotten something in their top 3 so far. So so far it's been good. Obviously, a lot of folks do like these end caps and sort of highly trafficked areas. So those, as you can see, always go fast. So that's how booth selection works there. Once we do get everyone's selection and your group closes, so like what happened yesterday on the 6th is booth selection closed. We work to place everyone based on your preferences. Again, we try and give somebody everything in their top 3 choices. You can also give us, once it is your time to pick, your preferences of I do or don't want to be sort of near these folks. We try and accommodate that as much as possible. Obviously, it's not a perfect system, and the sponsor hall will be full. So you can get to know your neighbors too if you don't know them already. So that's how that works. And then once everyone's in, we place everything and then we send it back to you with the confirmation before we go to the next group, in case you see something and you're like, well, based on this landscape, I actually want to move, which we've had a couple of people do and we've accommodated. So that's how booth selection works. I will say some of our groups, so groups 1 through 4 really were really heavy on all of our levels. I know groups 5 through 7 really is golds and bronzes. So this is something where if you're, if you decide to upgrade or do something in that sort of realm, you would be able to sort of upgrade and move booths immediately. So something just to keep in mind if you're feeling like you want a better position on the map, that's one way to certainly do it. For those who don't know, again, we just dropped this in here for the upcoming, we've got 4 more groups. So again, group 4 is heavy because we have more levels. Groups 5 through 7 is more so on the golds and bronzes. We alpha ordered these, so this is not an order of contract, signature date, or anything like that. So you guys can see here what group you're coming into, and then obviously that will align with the selection timeline of when you can expect to pick your booth. So wanted to share that with you guys today, since I know many of you have been asking for it. And we really don't send the calendar invites until like a day or 2 before, so that in case there's any delays, we can still catch them. But we want to share with you guys, again, this ETA. Keep in mind things will change if, some sponsors take longer than others, but so far we've actually been keeping the schedule. So sharing that with you guys here. Something just to keep in mind if you have booth selection upcoming. So that is the bulk of actually what we wanted to go over formally with you guys. I know we've been spitting out and sharing a lot of information with you guys week over week. So we wanted to do an open Q&A, open forum, ask any and all questions you got of us.
All right. When will we know when is our sponsor speaking session so we can plan travel for our executives? That's the first one in. Good question. Actually, Amelia, that might be best answered by you. I know you're working closely with the content team there.
Yeah, I think, Rudy, I don't think I've been on your kickoff call for content yet. So this is something in your content team, a formal kickoff call with our sponsor, or actually our speaker team here that we have at SaaStr. This is where, we've done a few of these. We just had one with Sales Up this morning. We chat through the themes. We chat through, days, times, and then that will help you plan your travel. So I definitely recommend we get that kickoff on the book. So I'll work with Brian Employee to make sure we get that scheduled for you so that you can start planning your travel. I will say, as a reminder to everyone does need to be vaccinated who comes to this event. So even your executives, if they are speaking or attending or doing anything, they do also need to be vaccinated. There is no exception to this. And actually our reg team and health and safety teams do not play favorites. Like they're literally third-party partners of ours that we're bringing in. So again, they're not going to know that it's, that you're a sponsor and this is your CEO. They are going to be hard and fast on that rule of no exceptions. Again, once you do start registering your teams, and the codes will be coming in the next week, you can start uploading your vaccine passports. I do think it's a great idea, just as a best practice for one of your event coordinators, just to have a digital copy of everybody's in case somebody forgets it or the upload didn't work, so that our health and safety teams can check it and make sure they don't have any issues coming in to the event.
We have a few more questions here already, which is great. Everyone, you can just you can post your questions in the Q&A area, and you will also be able to post them in the chat, whichever is easiest for you. I'm monitoring both. Jennifer asks, how will you be monitoring and checking for vaccinations? So this is a good question. We're going to do it third party, as Amelia had just said. We have a bunch of different partners for this right now, but that being said, it will be held in strict confidence so that we're not allowing any sort of HIPAA information to leak. That being said, you'll be able to upload a picture of your passport through the third party, and that will be able to showcase that you have met the requirement.
Yes, great question. So once you guys do register again, you'll be able to upload it on the spot. Once we get closer, we will have an app interface. So it's really, again, if you want to do it, if you have it now, I would do it now. Once you do register your teams, to Brian's point, it is collected at Reg, but we're not the ones who check the vaccines. Again, it goes to like one of our registration and health and safety teams, so that, for double blind opt-ins, we're not like the ones seeing it for HIPAA laws. I know some questions folks have asked on the vaccines is like, which vaccines are valid? What else have I seen? Like, what form of proof do we take? So basically any sort of vaccine card, if you will, or anything you got when you got your 2 shots or 1 shot, if you got J&J, is good with us. Obviously, a lot of the ones here in the States look the same. So those are pretty easy for our health and safety team to verify. Our health and safety team obviously has done this for more than just our event, which is why we're using them. They're familiar with all the vaccine cards and forms of proof. So again, just upload it to our portal. Once you sign up your team, they'll check it. They'll make sure everything is good to go. I do know that you will just need to be fully vaccinated at least 14 days, so 2 weeks before the start of SaaStr Annual 2020. So you have to be fully vaccinated 2 weeks prior to September 27th. You cannot be like partially vaccinated with like 1 shot and then you're getting your 2nd shot before, like right before annual. Like you should be fully done with the whole thing before you step foot in the door. So any vaccine we are allowing and it's valid, right? So as long as it's one of the, I mean, it has to be one of the known vaccines, since there isn't actually like FDA accepted or formally accepted list of vaccines. So basically any of the main ones that you've gotten, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, I know AstraZeneca, folks coming from Europe, that one's fine. Again, just shows your proof that you're fully vaccinated with that vaccine. 2 weeks before, we will have a mix of on-site testing. So I know, Jennifer, your follow-up question is like, is our health and safety on the website? I'm actually just going to click it so other folks can see it. Is this still accurate and up to date? It is. So we will have, again, the vaccine requirements for all in-person attendees. There will be temperature checks. It is passive, so it's like an iPad that you basically walk through. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to like beep at you or alarm at you unless for some reason you have a temperature. In that case, our health and safety team will determine why you have a temperature and go from there. They have a whole escalation process. We will have secondary rapid COVID testing at the event. Again, everyone's going to be vaccinated. This is just in case you feel like for your comfortability, you want to test. For our comfortability, we're going to do this first for, we're going to do this in a few ways. So there's going to be random ones. And then there's also going to be like, if you've traveled to certain places in the last, again, 14 days leading up to SaaStr annual, then you'll likely be tested on site. Again, this is nothing personal. So if you have issues with this, please let me know. I can chat with my health and safety team. But again, this is just to make the event as safe as possible. I think, as some of you probably know and have been following events, even on fully vaccinated events and cruises, there are still random breakout cases of COVID. So this is why we're trying to take and follow as many precautions as possible. So this is also valid. Again, a lot of this is outdoors. We've got increased sanitation, health and safety. There's distancing, there's hand washing, there's going to be frequent wipe downs of everything. If you would like extra PPE for your booth, let us know. We can work on helping you secure that if it's not something that it's pretty readily available these days. But if that's something that you want our help with, just let us know. Again, it's your comfortability as a sponsor, knowing that everybody will be vaccinated that you're interacting with. So just something to keep in mind there.
Great. Cassidy, I know that you asked, when will we have more information about our 15-minute on-stage demo presentation at the sponsor stage? We've been working more of the larger segment like meetings up front, just because we know that they're going to take a little bit more time to get together when you're doing a 20 or 30-minute presentation. That being said, there's no reason why we can't get you kicked off, Cassidy. So I'll reach out to you here post the event and make sure that we have a kickoff call on the books. We can get that started.
Yep.
Rooney, do you publish the sponsor speakers on your website, the landing page with picture, etc.?
Yeah, at one point we do. We're not there yet. We will publish all the speakers on our website, which obviously there's a lot of them. So they do get published more with the formal agenda, because it would have the title plus the speaker. So eventually when our agenda goes live, that will be live with all the speakers. Again, we have like 300 speakers. It's not an exaggeration. There's quite a lot of them. And I know most of you have not given us your speakers or content yet. So it's a little bit of a chicken and egg situation, which is why you don't see them all on the website yet. This is where our speaker team is working with Brian and his team to collect all that information, so that we can add it to the website. We do require like a high-res image. So if we don't have it, that makes it harder for us to put them on the website. I do know all speakers have to sign our speaker agreement, as well as fill out a few things. And yes, there are speakers listed on our homepage. That's just a selection. Again, that's just a selection of a few. We do not have everyone's speakers, but eventually all the speakers will be in the agenda on the website.
Excellent. Michelle asks, do you have a copy of the SaaStr annual logo that we could use on our event promotions on social media?
We do. That is something where in your guys' kits that we've been creating for all of you, you'll have not only some sponsor graphics that are specific to your presence at SaaStr Annual, we'll have our logos in there as well so that you can use them.
And then will shipping information and deadlines be shared in the exhibitor center once it's ready?
Yes, that will all be in there. Great question. I do know shipping is limited. So again, because we're outside, this is not a convention center. If you do ship things to the venue and it's not stuff that will fit in your booth, I highly recommend, again, just bringing what you need. I know a lot of folks like to bring thousands of swag pieces so that they can give one to every single person. Obviously, keep in mind comfortability of people taking things. Like they're probably not going to want to take as many things as they used to in the past, just because, you know, then that creates a lot more physical touch points for them to like grab something and take it with them. So I will say that will all be in there. I actually, when I've done booth duty in the past for something where storage was limited, because this has happened at other facilities, I've literally just like brought an extra suitcase of stuff or had several team members bring extra suitcases and then store it in like a centralized hotel room and then just bring what you need for the day of. That will actually probably save you some budget as well. I do know you can ship things to the center, but if it does not fit within your booth, I do know Freeman is handling like a shipping services center and storage. So that there will be a cost associated with that, again, if it does not fit within your booth. So just something to keep in mind there if you are ordering a lot of pieces, because space is limited, there will be some fees associated, right? So maybe bring high quality, fewer better things.
Are there limitations on swag giveaways due to COVID?
Ooh, great question. Yeah. There's not like limitations per se. However, I strongly recommend to everyone to do things that are individually wrapped, right? So that way they're safe. Obviously, do not do anything perishable. That is mainly our only restriction is like, don't do food items unless they're already individually wrapped. I know people have done like branded M&Ms, branded candy, branded mints. Like branded mints are still good because like they all come in their individual tins, right? So that's all good, all gravy. Anything individually wrapped, branded, cool. Nothing in bulk, right? So you're not going to want to do things that are in bulk or things that are passed around or need to be shared. Individually packaged or wrapped is really the only guideline we have, and nothing sort of perishable, right? Again, you are going to be outside. It's usually fantastic weather in September, but you are there throughout many hours of the day. So I wouldn't want to do, you know, again, it's going to be sitting at your booth for multiple days. So would just recommend staying away from anything perishable so that folks don't feel like they have to consume it right away, which would be just a little uncomfortable, I think.
Great. Awesome. Bruni, you'll get the speaker question you have there about the speaker agreement. You should already be squared away there through your legal team. But that being said, we can go through all that on your onboarding call for your session. That's no problem. And then, do the cabinets on the Diamond Turnkey booth have locks?
They do. So they all have locks. I will say though, again, keep in mind we are outside, so I would not. You can definitely like lock your swag in there. I would not lock any high value items. So I know you guys are Samsung, right? So I don't know if you're thinking about giving away electronics. I would not lock electronics in them because again, you're outside and they do lock. However, and we will have security. However, I have had things, not myself personally, but I've known as a sponsor of other trade shows back in the day, things sometimes walk off, right? Even though there is security, even though things lock, they've literally locked an expo hall overnight and the next morning everything's gone. So things can sometimes walk off. So I would not recommend putting any high value items in your booth just as a best practice for anyone. The cabinets do lock though, and once you get to your booth, they'll have the key in them so that you can just lock them and take them with you. If you lose it, Freeman can help you reopen it. But you'll see right here, they do have a lock right here. So there is a lock there. Again, just wouldn't store high value items. You could store like dongles, shirts, swag, things like that, water bottles, all that stuff is good and gravy. Just anything high value, actually, yeah, electronic wise or high value, store separately.
Okay.
Okay.
Other questions? Go ahead, Amelia. Sorry.
It's good. Sorry, I'm like giving people nausea flipping through my slides.
Questions. Here to answer. Okay. Well, back in my teaching days, we used to have to count to 15 before we were allowed to say there was no more questions. See? And look, I'm counting in my head and one pops up. This is why we do that, teachers of the world. Is there a storage area for anything that doesn't fit in the cabinet?
There is, yeah. So this is that storage area that will be managed by our production team. So we use Freeman, I think, as most of you know, from those booth specs. So anything that doesn't fit, again, I know there is a storage fee associated with that. So you're going to want to just be mindful, right, of like, is it something that you can get rid of within 1 day or 2 days, but you're not paying for 3 days of storage? They can definitely manage that. But again, that's why I recommend my sort of hack and workaround of that is like storing stuff with you and your team and then bringing it with you on the morning of for the entire day. That's probably going to be a lot better of a system so that you can manage your own inventory versus having somebody else manage it. Not that they won't and that they can't, just for me, it seems a lot simpler just to DIY it, but to each their personal preference.
Boom. Okay.
Okay.
Well, next week, you are all welcome to join us again. We are going to be asking people that are contemplating sponsoring still to maybe join us as well. So we might be going over some of the stuff that you may have all seen. But that being said, we're here to answer your questions. That's what these are for. We want to make sure that we can get those answers out. It does not take away from the fact that you should absolutely be engaging with me and my team. We're here to help you, especially on a one-on-one basis. We want to make sure that each of you are feeling the love here. So if you haven't heard from us or you need something like Cassidy, for instance, or Bruni, I will make sure to reach out to you so we can get everything underway from that regard.
Yes, and next week we will be sharing again. We'll do a deep dive of that exhibitor services kit since it'll be live. We'll share more about the agenda, which I think is just helpful for everyone. I know some of the things you guys have been asking for, as well as like any ancillary upgrades. So we'll share that next week too, of basically things you could do outside of your booth if you wanted to get creative, engage more of the SaaStr audience. So that is our tentative agenda for next week. If you have any suggestion, idea of things you would like to see, do let us know because really these webinars are here for you guys.
Game on. Well, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And until next time or until we speak, I hope you enjoy. Talk soon.
Thanks, everyone.